Now, after its Kashmir man fakery failed at the SCO summit, Pakistan is now planning a Twitter storm to rake up the very same issue once again. We're given to understand that Pakistan has unleashed its proxies on Twitter to rake up the Kashmir issue. Multiple attempts made by Pakistan to internationalize the Kashmir issue have failed, but yet Pakistan does not mend its ways. They do not learn. National Affairs Editor Srinjoy Chaudhary and Pradeep Dutta with us on this broadcast. Srinjoy, coming to you first, a new attempt there being made by Pakistan to internationalize the Kashmir issue, but they do not learn from their past mistakes because all their attempts so far to rake up Kashmir at an international fora have only failed.
Yes, Facebook has just thrown out Pakistan and the ISI recently. A lot of their things on Facebook have just been closed down by Facebook. As far as this Twitter storm is concerned, Pakistan was looking at 11 countries, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Britain, America, two parts in America, the East Coast and the West Coast, three countries in the Gulf, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar, India, of course, Kashmir, Pakistan and Malaysia. So these are the countries where there will be Twitter warriors, as they call it, failed people really, who have nothing better to do in life than to push for a cause that will never work. So this storm has been planned for the 19th of September. Right. Here are people who will try to raise up a storm about Jammu and Kashmir, and you would expect that it will not lead to very much because Pakistan has tried in various areas, officially in the UNGA, in the UN Security Council, through China, through Facebook, and all of them have failed. You would expect this to fail as well. But nevertheless, we'll have to wait for the storm, which is coming up tomorrow.
Absolutely. Stay with us. Pradeep is also with us. Now, Pradeep, this is not the first time that Pakistan would try its dirty tricks on social media. We do know in the past as well, Pakistan used Twitter bots to push their propaganda, to push anti-India content.
You're right. You're absolutely right. In fact, Pakistan has earlier also gone for the disinformation campaign. The idea is basically they wanted to disintegrate, destabilize, and also to demonize India in different fora. And that's one of the reasons that now they're targeting 11 countries. Why they are doing so? Because we have seen that in the past also they had sourced this to many of the bots and trolls from their side. But that hasn't worked because after August 5, when first time Jammu and Kashmir was properly integrated with India with the abrogation of Article 370, since then they had been trying their level best to internationalize Kashmir issue. They had been trying to, in fact, start a misinformation campaign against India where they are trying to portray India in a bad light. And again, they are making an attempt where they are trying to build up a case for Kashmir, where they are trying to highlight certain issues targeting Kashmir on the social media. But that's really not going to work, as Srinjoy was rightly saying, that already Pakistan has been thrown out so far as the Facebook is concerned, and already they have lost the battle when it comes to United Nations Security Council also, United Nations also. Even they wanted Arab countries, because Arab countries, they wanted that Arab countries to support them so far the Kashmir cause is concerned. But we have seen that Saudi Arabia instead started asking Pakistan for the loan which Saudi Arabia had given them. Saudi Arabia was considered to be one of the main ally of Pakistan. But now Saudi Arabia has also shown back, because reason being that everybody understands by peddling lies, they will not be able to change reality. And what really happened last year in August 5 was nothing but it was an administrative decision taken by the government of India. That was an internal matter, aimed to benefit people of Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, people of Kashmir has also not come out and paid any heed to any of these Twitter campaign or the social media campaign that has been unleashed from across the border. So this really, the three-dimensional approach of their aim to disintegrate, demonize and destabilize India is not really going to work, because people in Kashmir Valley and people of international community too very well understand, because Pakistan had been one country that had been only exporting terror, peddling lies, deceit, deception, and that's really not going to work this time. And this time also they will have to fall flat on the ground what really happened to them in the United Nations Security Council and in the recent SCO meet also, where they tried to come up with a fictitious map. They're showing their political map where Jammu and Kashmir being part of India. The daydreaming is not really going to work. They can daydream, they will continue to do so for another 100,000 years, but that's not really going to work, because Kashmir will remain an integral part of India, and Modi will remain one of the popular leaders who who has been elected by the people of the country, because these hashtags like Islamophobia, fascist India, fascist Mobi or free Kashmir is not really going to work.
Absolutely. None of this propaganda is going to work with the people of Kashmir or the country. That is a lesson that Pakistan must learn but refuses to. Now, Srinjoy, this Twitter storm that is planned for tomorrow comes just days after a Pakistan representative at the SCO meeting tried to put forth a fictitious map of Jammu and of Pakistan, in which they claimed Jammu and Kashmir was a disputed territory. We know for a fact that India sent a very stern message at that meeting after NSA Doval walked out of the virtual meeting.
Yes, the NSA, that's Ajit Doval, he walked out of that virtual meeting. He decided that enough was enough. And it has to be said that the Russians who were hosting it were very embarrassed and very unhappy with Pakistan, because here is a program on something entirely different. And then you come in with a false map of your own country.
Right.
And that was not acceptable at all. If this is something, it has to be a bilateral issue. You tell India that, look, this is ours and so on and so forth. But India and Pakistan have both decided after Shimla that, look here, this is a bilateral issue and we do not want to do anything else with it. So if Kashmir is a bilateral issue, why are you taking it to a multilateral forum?
Absolutely, that was the message that had come in from the SCO meeting. Stay with us. We also have Major General G.D. Bakshi on the phone line. So thank you for speaking with us. Another attempt here by Pakistan to use social media, to use Twitter bots, to use the platform of Twitter to, push their fake propaganda about Kashmir, about India. But time and again, India has shown that none of this really works.
Look, it's very clear that legally, with the Shimla agreement, it was decided that all issues between India and Pakistan will be settled bilaterally. No question of any third party, third fora interference, including the United Nations. Even the United Nations has taken this dispute off its register of disputes. Because they are sick and tired of the Kashmir rant.
Right.
And these guys have a stuck recorder going on and on. The world is fed up of the K-rant of Pakistan. They have no time for it. Because of that, this country has impoverished, beggared itself, sold itself to every extra regional power to try and somehow gain an edge or a balance with India, a much bigger, much stronger India. And I think the end game is close by.
Absolutely.
They are now getting terribly worried because their champion, China, has just been given a drubbing, has been shown its place by the Indian Armed Forces, and they have cut a rather sorry figure. The champion that the Pakistanis were counting on, China.
Right.
They thought China would, browbeat India, would frighten India out of its wits, and they would be growing and they would get a chance to once again restart their asymmetric war with India, which they were forced to stop because of Balakot. Because we made it clear that you mess around with us and you will get it back. And that stands. Let Pakistan mess around, you cross a certain line and you will get it right back. And you may end up
and General Bakshi, no matter how much India gives it back to them, Pakistan refuses to learn, because several times, multiple times over the years, we have seen Pakistan try and raise the Kashmir issue on an international forum. All of those attempts have been thwarted, be it the SCO, be it the UNSC, be it the United Nations General Assembly. All of these platforms, their K-rant fell flat. The fact that they still want to go ahead and push this propaganda on social media now just shows how desperate they are. Major General G.D. Bakshi, thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. This plot by Pakistan, their desperate attempt to get back at India, will only fail. That remains the top focus here on Times Now. A quick break here on this edition. Back with more updates on the other side. Stay with us.